my friends, welcome to this chess video, and last time we looked at the static strategic element and how we can extract information from the chessboard looking at the static elements which we can utilize sometimes to form our plans and ideas. But it often happens that there are no clear-cut static elements in a chess position, nor can we create any in just a few moves. And in this case, we have to rely on the dynamic strategic element. And if you think about the position at the beginning of a chess game, you can see that there are no static elements, there are no tactical elements. And the reason we control and occupy the center with moves like 1e4 or 1d4, 1c4 is that we are turning to the dynamic strategic element, in this instance controlling the center. Similarly, we may find ourselves playing moves whose purpose is to simplify the position or to reduce our opponent's field of mobility or to improve the position of our own pieces. These two are the dynamic strategic elements. Check out this little portion of a game with me. It's in fact a Queen's Indian. And begins like this here. And double zeros. You can see that the position contains no static elements of any real importance. Just the weakness or strength of the e5 square, which is already occupied by a white knight. White therefore introduces a dynamic element, that of reducing the mobility of his opponent's pieces. And he does this by playing the wonderful queen to e4, which is designed to reduce the mobility of this black knight here on b8, making it impossible for it to come to c6 or to d7. For example, if black ever tried something like knight b to d7, well, if knight takes, queen takes, queen takes, knight takes, and you can see that the d pawn is falling after bishop takes on d5. Black therefore has to try something else. And in the game he tried the interesting c5. Now this presents white with the opportunity to impose new static elements on the position. But the problem for white is that none of them are advantageous for him. For example, if he plays something like d takes c, and we have b takes c, you can see that black has these hanging pawns, which in the late opening, early, middle game are certainly an advantage for him, because you can see that it gives him greater control of the center and a lot of space for his pieces. We can just put that back, play c5. It makes much more sense there for white to keep the tension in the center. If we just give white a move like e3, we can see that this is the case, because if black ever takes on d4, well, you can see that he leaves himself with a very nasty weakness here on d5, with all of white's pieces able to assault the d5 pawn. And if he ever tries to advance the pawn to c4, well, white can simply assault the head of the pawn chain with a move like b3. So it simply makes much more sense for white to keep the tension in the center and instead introduce a strategic dynamic element instead of a static element. And he does this by playing a developing move, double zeros, with the idea of introducing perhaps the rook to the d file and the tactical element of rook versus queen opposition. So I cite this example to you chess friends to emphasize that there may be opportunities to impose a static element on the position, but you need to understand whether it's advantageous for you to do so or not. And if it's not, you need to turn to some other avenue, the dynamic strategic element, by introducing things like controlling the center, reducing the mobility of your opponent's pieces, developing, things like these. So I hope this little example clarifies that for you, my chess friends. In the next video, we're going to take a look at the tactical element and how we can use it when we are evaluating chess positions and trying to determine what is the most salient point in the position around which we form our plans and our ideas. So I thank you very much for taking the time to watch the chess video. I sincerely wish you well with your own chess. Take care and goodbye.